Let's take a look at some of the most hilarious clips where the dogs had the robbers clutching their hearts.
Are you the little guy making all that big noise?
The ferocious little dog. This duo of knuckleheads had come creeping up on the porch and had even gotten the door to open. But the furry little dog was ready with his defense. He barked loudly and ran after a couple of robbers. The crooks didn't want to wait around and see what was going to happen. They ran straight out of the door and out of the driveway with the dog trailing behind them. I wonder if he caught up to at least one of them. Justice served. This K9 was let out to track down the carjackers that had fled the scene. The dog sniffed around and managed to finally track down the crooks. Even after the dog had them tracked, the sneaky robbers didn't come out of hiding. The cops went with their guns held up and forced them to the ground. There is no messing with the police dog. The puppy on guard. This bike thief thought that he would wear a helmet and take away the bike. But the little puppy had other plans. He barked a few times and sent the cowardly robber sprinting in the opposite direction. The quick exit. This crook had somehow sneaked in past the front door. He was looking to steal Christmas presents, but the homeowner already had a surprise planned for him. The crook was just skimming through the gifts when the roar of the dog sent the robber running in the opposite direction. He was off way before the dog could even see his face. Gang of street dogs. Who needs a guard dog when a gang of street dogs are there to protect you? One crook was seen climbing over the wall. A dog had its spidey sense running as he called out to the other dogs to assemble. The crook jumped over the wall and the dogs formed a formation, hot on the crook's heels. I bet that he is never going to come to this neighborhood again. Fangs out. A store owner was sitting at the gas station when a man came knocking at the door. Although the owner was trying to keep the dog off, the dog already knew that there was something up with the suspicious man. And the dog was right. Suddenly, ambushed by the crook, the owner released the dog on him. It thwarted the robber's attempt at a foolish robbery and sent him fleeing the scene within seconds. Robber who got robbed. The robber walked in trying to steal from the homeowner, yet he was the one who got robbed. This man jumped inside the house and ordered the dogs around, thinking it would work. I don't know if he was playing dumb or was dumb, but this foolery was about to come back and bite him. For 3 minutes, the dogs took one look at him and went right for his face. People were walking past the house, ignoring the fiasco going around. One man threw a bucket of water down at the wrestling duo, helping God knows whom. The dogs took his hat, his sweater, and probably his entire will to live. He gave up fighting the dogs near the end. The poor garbage man. This guy was just taking out the trash when a dog from another house went straight for him. The dog thought he was an intruder and chased him off all around the garden. 2 men had to hop in to save him from the crazy dog. At least the owner would be happy to find that his dog is up for the job. Chased out the house. This duo had come all prepared in a van to sneak into this house. They had even brought weapons to scare away the dogs. But when they got inside, it took them less than a minute to go back to where they came from. The men scurried away in panic as the dogs tried to pounce on them. The robbers got up the wall, but it was no help. The dogs jumped right after them. One crook got so scared that he lost his balance and fell off the height. They raced back to the van and carried out their embarrassing escape. Taking cover. This man had crossed over the fence to try and sneak his way inside the home. But a couple of German shepherds didn't give him any time to plan his next move. The duo attacked him, going straight for his legs. The robber was already screaming in agony. The homeowner came, rescued him from the dogs, and strolled out of the scene. The robber took cover on a car, climbing up on its hood and clutching his legs in pain. But the dogs weren't too happy about that either. Turns out, It was their owner's car. Now that's the kind of guard dog you need. The terrifying hug. If it is the sheriff's K9, you ought to watch out. This suspect already had the dog on his trail. The dog leapt at the car window and was wrestling with the suspect. The man opened the door but couldn't get the dog off of him. He tried smacking at the dog but broke the glass window instead. He was scrambling in panic. Suddenly, the dog picked out another power move. He jumped at the suspect and went straight for his hand, hugging him in the most ferocious way possible. The suspect gave up and surrendered. The unlucky package thief. A porch thief had his eyes set on a package and had brought the gang along. The white car waited as he sprinted towards the porch. Unluckily for him, a dog was watching his every move. It barked loudly and sent the robber running. The crook dropped the package in fear of the dog, and the car fled the scene. The homeowner picked up the package later. Angry German shepherds. Sometimes a robber comes in the shape of a fox trying to attack the chickens. The German shepherds weren't going to let any intruder pass the defenses. They aimed for the fox and bolted after it. The fox knew it was out of the high fence or game over. It made the high jump, but the two dogs were still barking to keep the fox intimidated and on the other side. Unleash the dogs. This bonehead thought he was fooling the homeowners by tiptoeing and sneaking around. Too bad his face is on camera. The dog unleashed its attack on the robber, leaping at him with full force. But the robber thought it would be a good idea to brawl with the dog. He smacked at the dog and tried to roll it over, but the dog was not very happy about those punches. He came at the robber's leg, trying to chew it off. Other dogs joined in, and the robber knew he was done for. He sprinted on the other side, with the dogs trailing behind him. K9s Vicious Attack. A suspect had stolen a vehicle and had a fleet of cops running after him. Suddenly, he came to a stop and started running on foot. The cops wasted no time in releasing the police dog, who sprinted into action straight away. He tracked down the burglar and leaped at him. The dog had bitten him on his back, making the robber stumble in pain. He dropped to the floor and was about to be sent straight to jail. German Shepherd Protects House. A bunch of robbers were planning on getting inside this big house. The guard dog had already seen the whole fiasco happening and wasn't going to let the crooks get away. The dog took its time, but then started to bark loudly. The robbers heard the bellowing barks and knew it was best to leave. They climbed out the way they came. Bad decisions. Two crooks were on the roof of the house trying to sneak away inside the house, but their plans were foiled by the two ferocious dogs. One of the crooks thought he could jump straight into the battleground and come out alive. The dogs showed him for the next 2 minutes why it was a bad idea. They tore his shirt apart and completely mauled the guy. They weren't joking around. But you know who was? The other crook. He just enjoyed the chaos, strolling around here and there to catch a better view. But no one was as gutsy as the homeowner. He just shut the door and let his dogs go to town on the crooks. Send 'em running. This Great Dane was suspicious of the robber from the start, but he didn't go into attack mode just yet. The robber took advantage of the opportunity and tried to pet him to get the big dog's trust. It didn't work, though. The dog was loyal to his owner. When the woman screamed at the sight of the unwanted intruder, the dog leaped into action, biting the robber from behind. He then reached for his head, sending the robber running in the opposite direction. Dog chases thief. A burglar had sneaked his way inside a house, but a guard dog was waiting his entire life to chase him down. There he goes. Good luck escaping that fool. Pounce at the robber. This man was only halfway inside the house when two barking dogs came running after him. He chose not to drop down on the ground and be dog food, but that didn't help him much either. The dogs were already pouncing on him, biting his legs and clutching at his waist. They had managed to throw him on the ground. The robber was pretty much done for. He tried hiding behind the clothes and even gave up his jacket, but the dogs wouldn't back down. I doubt that they even let him leave. The police chase. This robber was out being chased by multiple cops, so he decided to change cars. Bystanders tried to stop him, but he was already out, crashing it a few miles down the road. The man got out and started running on foot, with the police officers hot on his heels. But there was one more surprise waiting for him. The K9 darted after the thug, pounced at him, and pinned him to the ground. The cops came, but the job was already done. They arrested him right away. Scared the package thief. This man in a cap was posing as a delivery man, but even that couldn't save him from the guard dog. The man came towards the porch and swept the porch with his steel. But then, the dog sprinted after the package thief, barking loudly. The thief dropped the package to the floor and jumped straight out of the gate. The dog sniffed around the package and then went on his way. He just wanted to double-check. The dog chase. A bunch of officers were out to catch this robbery suspect on a high-speed car chase. Coming to a halt, the robber got out of the car and sprinted. The cops let the K9 out, and their job was pretty much done. The dog leaped multiple times at the robber, trying to get him down, but the boy didn't budge. The dog still didn't attack him and kept trying to throw him off. Suddenly, the boy dropped to the ground with the dog pouncing at him. The cops arrested him right away. This man was trying to find a way inside the house through the roof. He might have checked all the doors, but he didn't check for dogs. He dropped down on the ground, picking the perfect spot, only to have his robbery foiled by a couple of dogs. The two K9s ran after the robber, making him scramble in panic. The robber tried to dodge the dogs, but he knew he was done for. He went straight for the wall and used the doghouse to climb out. He was lucky that the dogs didn't pounce at him. The Carjacker's Karma. A bunch of crooks had dropped by this house to try and steal the car out in the driveway. They threw the old man sitting in the car outside and tried to gang up on him. But the dogs inside the house saw the whole fiasco happening. The woman near the gate was trying to protect the dogs from the shooters, but they were one step ahead. The dogs unleashed their fury on the thugs and sent them fleeing back into the van. The crazy dog. This poor burglar was peeking around the house when he saw a dog barking and running towards him. He did not think twice and was already on his way out of the fence. He is lucky that little dog couldn't jump that high. Otherwise, the crazy dog would have had him mauled. The Stubborn Carjacker. This carjacker was surrounded by a fleet of police cars, armed officers, and a helicopter. Yet she was refusing to come out. They waited for a few minutes, but the police dog had enough of the fiasco. He leaped at the robber through the car's window and pounced at her. The robber tried to throw the dog off, but the dog was in no mood for drama. He hopped again and decided to take a seat inside. The robber was startled and panicking, but it was exactly the distraction the cops needed. They rushed to arrest the crook. Dog scare-away burglar. A delivery man had just delivered the package to this owner's house, but that had attracted a porch thief. Seconds after the delivery, a hooded man came jogging up to the porch. He waited around a few seconds, but that alerted the guard dog. He barked loudly, and the thief was on his way back to his getaway car. The Pitbull Surprise. This creepy burglar had sneaked his way inside the house through the front door and hid behind the TV. Suddenly, the robber came barreling at the woman who shut the door in his face. The robber started banging and smacking at the door to try and get it to open. He did get in, but a surprise was waiting for him. The pitbull launched into an attack, throwing the intruder on the ground. He tried to smack him, but that only made the dog angry. So he went for the head next. The robber must have been pleading for mercy even before the court appearance. The Dream Team. A police officer was chasing down a couple of robbers. They had totaled their car, and one of the crooks had already bolted the scene. The cop went to the driver to arrest him, while the dog went after the crook, who had run away. The cop arrested the driver and dragged him over in pursuit of his dog and the other thief. When they arrived at the scene, the police dog had the suspect in its ferocious clutches. The dog was biting down on the thief's arm, holding him down in his place. Talk about intimidation at its best. The Masked Man. A man had pulled his t-shirt up to his face to hide, but he was about to fool with a guard dog. The dog had to bark loudly once, and the robber was already on his way back. Bye-bye, Crook. This boy was either trying out the bike or making a dumb attempt at stealing it. Whatever the cause, the dog was not very happy about the bike being used by someone else. He pounced at the boy and sent him darting out of the scene with the dog standing there barking. Out in the shed. This thief thought he would have an easy time robbing this place, but he had barely stepped into the yard when the guard of the palace went into action. The Doberman chased the robber into the little shed, then kept him there by barking and going after him. Eventually, the owner arrived with a stick, ready to make the robber leave. The thief had no idea who to ebb more scared of, the man or the dog. Dog test. Check out these dogs being tested for how they would react if a robber broke into the home. Each one for them has a different reaction. Some just don't bother doing anything, and other gets scared. But there are a few who go into attack mode and protect their owners with their lives. What a bunch for good boys. Saved by a bite. A masked man with a bag was barreling in through the door to steal some goods. The dog pounced on the robber, going straight for his leg, but the robber threw the dog off just in time and ran away. He was saved by a few inches. That's all on the dogs, who took it upon themselves to give justice to the robbers. While some were lucky enough to sneak away, others had to go through getting bitten. Which clip did you like the best? Let us know in the comments. Hit the thumbs up icon if you enjoyed the video so far, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos like these coming your way. We will be coming up with more fun content daily. Until next time, thanks for watching.